From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. From snow sweeping across the country this week to now record-breaking cold.
Boy, it's going to be nasty. If you are out in the northwestern plains, it is going to be unbearable.
From winter wheat to livestock, we'll tell you what's most at risk. Even with the drought, did the U.S. produce a record corn crop last year? USDA's final production numbers are out for 2023. Headwinds overseas.
$1 in $5 in net farm income comes from export markets. And as we look at this global economy, we're in a global economic slowdown.
And the impact here at home. Plus, a family's tractor collection connecting all of us to the past and helping this family cherish the good old days gone by.
Those were the best days of our lives.
U.S. Farm Report, presented by Pioneer. What's next happens when experience meets expertise. Pioneer. What's next happens here.
Now for the news happening right now. It's another weekend of keeping a watch on the weather as another winter storm pushes across the U.S. along with strong winds followed by bitter cold temperatures. It follows a week where weather continued to make headlines in farm country. The storm this week impacting cattle operations and disrupting beef processing schedules. The massive storm dumping more snow than forecast with over 20 inches in the heaviest areas. The bullseye was in Nebraska and Kansas, and it impacted beef processors with only 115,000 head of cattle slaughtered on Monday, according to USDA. The weather also impacting average daily gains due to the cold and muddy feedlot conditions. Analysts say this will reverse the trend of record cattle carcass weights the last several weeks, which were tied to the dry and mild fall and early winter weather.
So now these cattle go from growing 4 pounds a day to all of a sudden, wham, stand still, lose weight. Now you're going to feed them for 2 or 3 weeks to try to get their weight back to where it was before that. So you're going to see a big drop in performance and in the weight of the cattle, in my opinion.
Cueva says weights were expected to drop again with another winter storm that hit the Southwest later in the week. The Minnesota Attorney General is accusing a dairy in the state of wage theft. Attorney General Keith Ellison accusing Evergreen Acres Dairy of at least $3 million in wage theft and also of providing substandard housing to Evergreen employees. The Attorney General's office supplying these pictures. The office claims some workers live in windowless bedrooms with plywood walls, unfinished electric sockets, and only space heaters for warmth. A complaint filed against the dairy says many employed are unauthorized workers, largely from a region of Mexico that does not speak Spanish. It claims Evergreen Acres has used the vulnerabilities of the unauthorized workforce to hold large sums of earned wages from its employees. It also claims Evergreen Acres didn't keep employment records required by law, destroyed time cards, and falsified records. Evergreen Acres runs 18 facilities across central Minnesota. So far, there has not been a statement released from the owners of Evergreen Acres. Nebraska state regulators say JBS is responsible for sending a so-called sludge blanket into 2 rivers. The Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy says an anaerobic wastewater lagoon was breached over the weekend in Grand Island. It estimates 4 million gallons of wastewater discharged from the lagoon and went into a ditch that leads into the Wood River. It then traveled into the Platte River about 15 miles from the JBS plant. It reports JBS contracted a cleanup company to vacuum up the spill. JBS says it took immediate action to reduce any impacts and is working with state and federal officials to handle the cleanup. It says the release has been stopped and the plant is back to operating normally. USDA says foreign-owned farmland in the U.S. grew by more than 8% in 2022. The number owned by foreign entities totals 43.4 million acres of forest and farmland. However, that's just 3.4% of total U.S. ag land. On this map, the states in orange are where foreign-held ag land is 2.4% or more. Canada, they remain the largest foreign investor of U.S. land, accounting for 32% of total foreign-held land. China, they only account for less than 1%. That's it for the news. Well, from snow last week to now talking record-breaking cold in the plains and Northwest, we'll have a check of your weather next, and I'm warning you, it's not pretty.